Heading into training camp, the two position battles that were going to have the biggest spotlights on them were starting right guard and outside corner opposite of Patrick Peterson. We'll start with right guard first. 4 of your 5 starters on the offensive line last year remains constant this time around. The open spot right guard, first team reps have been dominated by Jesse Davis. I'm rooting like crazy for Chris Reed. I feel like he's too good to allow to just sit on the bench. I want to see him start somewhere on the interior, but if he doesn't start, Jesse Davis ultimately, if he does win the job, so be it. Speaking of Chris Reed, and add along to that Ed Ingram, they've been on the second team offense, left guard and right guard respectively. Now going to outside corner, Andrew Booth Jr. day one made a very nice play, arguably the highlight play of the day, with a sliding interception grab, a low throw by Kirk Cousins intended for Justin Jefferson. And yesterday, day 2, things got chippy between Booth and Amir Smith-Marset, so he's got the fire in him. But don't get lost on the fact that Cam Dantzler has been having a great training camp so far after 2 days. Had a nice pass defense against Adam Thielen yesterday. So this is the ideal scenario that the Vikings, and quite frankly, Vikings fans wanted all along, because Patrick Peterson, we know he's going to start. There's nothing about that. The Vikings have a good problem to have, whether you want to go ahead and start Andrew Booth Jr. or Cam Dantzler, but we all know that Cam Dantzler, if things don't change, he's going to end up starting. But this is the ideal scenario that Vikings Nation want. You're not going to have Patrick Peterson forever. You want to have Cam Dantzler and Andrew Booth Jr. as your 2 outside corners for the next foreseeable future. And it looks like that's what's happening so far. At quarterback, the second team reps have been divided evenly between Sean Mannion and Kellen Mond, to which I say I've officially given up. For whatever reason, literally other than football, I've accepted the fact that Sean Mannion will be the backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings for the 4th consecutive year. I don't know what secret photos he has on the Wolf brothers, but kudos to him. And staying at quarterback, Kirk Cousins. So the other day when I did the video talking about Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's comments on Kirk, well, he's a good quarterback, but he's not Brady or Mahomes, which was a stupid thing to say. Something that I forgot to say. When you get on a roll and you're doing content, sometimes you forget to bring up a couple of notes that you jotted down before you started recording. What I forgot to say was that now, one of the things that when Kirk Cousins becomes available to the media, one of the first things he's going to be asked is, hey, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, your GM said this about you. What do you have to say about that? And he said, quote, I haven't given it much thought with training camp being so busy and consuming so much of my time. I'm not too concerned about it. If nothing else, what Kwesi said, what you have to consider is, if you're the GM, everything you say through the media is going to get relayed to that player at the next available press conference that they are going to be in. Is what I am about to say as the GM, is it worth the player's time to talk about it later? And in this case, no, it's not. We're in training camp right now, and instead of talking about football or talking about how I got better or what I'm working on or studying the playbook, I, as Kirk Cousins, now have to spend bandwidth, energy, space in my brain coming up with ways to explain why the stuff that you said is no big deal. It was stupid, but we're moving on from that. Justin Jefferson made a touchdown grab, 7-on-7 drills on day 1. He was asked about his upcoming big contract. Negotiations can start next year. He said, quote, I'm not fond of money. Nobody recognizes me as the number 1 receiver in the game, so that's my motivation right there. I get why he said it, and I understand if you're a Vikings fan why you'd be thrilled to hear that. I don't like that he said that only for his sake. Don't get me wrong. As a Vikings fan, if he signs a contract extension on the cheap below his market value, I'll be thrilled for that. Fantastic. But next year, during contract negotiations, if there's any sort of standoff between the Vikings and Jefferson's camp, I don't want what he said within the past 48 hours, I'm not too fond of money, to come back and make him look bad during contract negotiations. Well, you said you're not too fond of money. What's the problem? Sign the first offer that the Vikings give you in the first place. That's my only concern there. Other than that, pay this man whatever the hell he wants. I don't care what he gets paid. I want him to remain on this team for life, for his career.